What's up? I'm Ethan. We're jumping back into the KX85 that we're working on here. In the previous video, I didn't really document it, but I spent a lot of time shining up all these parts with a Brillo pad, cleaning up all this aluminum, and this engine came out really good. It looks really good on the outside right now, but I know a disaster awaits us on the inside. So let's waste no time and jump right into this thing. We're not messing around with this thing. We're not asking questions. Well, I'm going to start off. I'm just going to pull the clutch cover off here. I'm going to lower the mode that I'm on here. Jump to a 10 mil for these clutch plate bolts here. Trying to make as much room here as I can, because we're gonna have a lot of parts coming in here. Go ahead and pull the water pump off now. I don't think that's the right bolt that belongs in there, so I'm gonna put that elsewhere so that I don't accidentally put that back in. We'll have to find the right length bolt for that, but I've got a bolt kit for that, so should be no biggie. I'm gonna jump up the power on my impact gun here just to make sure, because if this water pump impeller spins, the whole clutch and whatnot's gonna spin too. So give it a good zap, just like that. And you're gonna want to make sure you don't lose the washer that goes along with this. Set this off to the side here. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and just pull the whole clutch side cover off here. I can't remember if I need to pull something out here to make that happen. It's very possible that I do. Oh. Ooh, that's some nasty looking stuff coming out of there. And we knew that might happen. I am going to grab a drain pan real quick so I don't make too much. Oh, too late. I'm making a disaster. Not my fresh workbench. Shout out Alex for the workbench. A good buddy of mine donated it, and I'm already making a mess, but I saw that coming from a mile away. Kind of in the flow state right now, fellas. I haven't really eaten since lunch, and you ever get in that like fasted state where you're working and your mind is just so clear. That's why late nights in the shop like this are so great. Just a good opportunity to clear the old noggin and pull the power valve actuator out. Alright, cool. Now we should be good to pull this clutch side cover off here. Best to do this in crisscross pattern. Not of the utmost importance, but anything you can do to prevent warping these case covers and cases themselves is a good practice. And away she comes. Alright. I'm just going to leave all those bolts in there for now, and I'm going to end up taking those out because I'm going to have to clean up the gasket side of that and whatnot. I'm also going to pull out clutch push rod here and this bearing. I just want to check all these bearings as I'm going along. Yeah, that feels good. Alright. All this stuff has some pretty nasty oil on it, so I am going to, obviously I'm going to go through and clean all this internal stuff because it is just a nasty concoction that's inside of this motor right now. And it is going to be a pain in the ass, but most things that are easy typically aren't worth doing. I'm going to zip this clutch basket off. I think that nut should be a 24 millimeter. Yep. Prime time. I'm going to see if this will just come off with me holding, hanging on to the rod right here. I'll put it on the higher mode and actually, let me put a glove on in case this doesn't work out the way I want it to. And I end up basically dragging my hand into the crankcase holding onto the rod. Ask me how I know. Well, good enough, I guess. Just like that. Loosen up that washer. I'm going to just try to leave everything there. Put that nut back on there. I have to inspect all the clutch plates, but I like what I'm seeing. Don't think those will need to be replaced, so I might just dry them off and soak them in some fresh oil though, because like pretty much everything in this motor is probably going to be contaminated with bad oil. Not probably, it will be. So we're going to make sure to clean everything because a lot of these bearings will still be fine. We just want to make sure that we're being thorough and cleaning everything. So I'm going to do that as I work my way along here and kind of just like storing things in the order that I pulled them off in. So I'm going to thread that back in through those needle bearings. Alright. Pull this guy out. Actually, before I do that, this is usually a good point of reference for me to take a few pictures, because even though I do everything by the manual, having a photo reference of the way my brain was looking at it is typically very helpful. Oh yeah, work it, baby. You know your angles. I'm gonna pull this out. That bearing feels really good. So 17 maybe? Yeah. An important thing to note about these secondary gears is that it is reverse threaded. Might as well start cleaning while I'm going here. Old no glove Tommy over here, just brake clean and raw, baby. I'm gonna hold these gears in the order that I pulled them out with some zip ties. No notching in that bearing. Good to see, good to feel. There are some broken teeth on this guy though. You can see that. They're not like broken, but they're worn down. Yeah, we'll need to replace that if we're doing this thing right. Which is a shame, because it's really only, I'm gonna have 1 or 2, 3 of these guys, but better safe than sorry on this one, fellas. Hopefully that's not too pricey of a part. Trying to keep costs as low as we can on this one. This guy off, so I need my snap ring pliers. Welcome back to the party. We are about ready to split some cases here. I'm not going to use the impact here because if possible I want to not warp or damage these cases, and B, if I can reuse the dowel pins, just usually if I can get a clean break, then I can just like clean the dowel pins up with a Brillo pad, and usually on prime time that would be the ideal scenario. Apparently that's an 18 mil or maybe a 3/4. I guess 18 will work. Alright, let's see what happens here. Alright, well, you see where we're at. I'm going to call it a night. I'll bring you in a little bit closer before we call it a night so you can really see just what we're looking at as far as bearing material. These transmission bearings really don't feel terrible, and that's mostly because the crankcase is Anyway, I got an early morning tomorrow again, and it's come up on midnight again, and we've missed the dinner call, so going to bed a little peckish. But we'll probably pick this back up tomorrow, and I'll at least start cleaning the inside of these cases and driving bearings out, and hopefully put in an order for parts so we can get this thing finished up and put back together and ripping. It's been a couple of days since we've worked on the KX85, but I finally got the parts in, and huge shout out to my boss and owner of Risk Racing. Kind of explained to him, he knew about what I was doing a little bit here with the KX85. And it was inspired by the project that I'm working on at Risk right now on a KTM 300. This is kind of just worked out where I've gotten the parts before that KTM, so this video will come out. But James stepped up in a big way, and he wanted to contribute to the project, and he out of his own pocket got the parts that we need to put this thing back together, because we both agreed we want to see this kid back ripping. And his dad's a super down-to-earth good guy. So right now I'm putting the ingredients in for my mechanic dinner right here. Just throwing them in the freezer. We're gonna get these things nice and chilly, make it a little bit easier. I like to put my bearings right above my tilapia and Cool Whip. That's just how I like to do it. You guys can put it wherever. Right now, my goal is I'm gonna go out into the shop and I'm gonna drive these bearings out. I'm gonna prep the cases because there's a ton of bearing material inside of this engine. So we're gonna go out there, clean all that up while this stuff is cooling off. But I do have to come clean. I've made a boo-boo. When I unboxed our Garage Buddy kit here that Wiseco helped us out with, I was like, no case gasket. So I was like, oh no, have I been talking all this shit about this guy not putting in a case gasket for no reason? Turns out I was wrong, and I'm gonna admit that. The KX85 is designed to have a case gasket in between, but I'm not gonna redact my comments because whoever rebuilt the engine still made a big boo-boo, and a boo-boo that I am hopefully not going to make. First off, he put way too much silicone in there, so it splooged out, and all that silicone and gasket maker ended up mixing with all the moving parts, and I think that's part of the reason what happened there. And my hypothesis is that one of the main reasons that even occurred was because they didn't use a fuel and oil resistant gasket maker, so it broke down the integrity of that gasket maker, causing it to get into those moving parts even easier. So I'm staying true to what I said. I feel a little guilty, but it was funny, man. And I'll admit that I was wrong on that one. Even a clock's wrong once a day, right? Or twice a day? Was it right twice a day? It's a saying. There's a saying in there somewhere. But I'm gonna bring you guys in. I'm probably just gonna show you the quick and dirty of knocking these bearings out. Yeah, see, this is what I was talking about with the, let me get that strand back out. This is a silicone gasket that they'd used that just splooged out and found its way into the main bearings, and guessing that was probably the beginning of the end for this engine. It is very interesting that Kawasaki, and I understand that they designed it this way and they milled the cases for it to work this way with no case gasket in between. It is meant to use some sort of gasket maker in between. They make a special Kawasaki specific one. You can also find gas and oil resistant gasket makers at your local part store, because anything OEM, no matter what brand it is, they're gonna bend you over the table and charge you out the wazoo for it. And they won't take you out to dinner first, I'll tell you what. And as I said, James stepped up in a big way. My intention of this project was just to do what we absolutely had to get this thing running, because as I said, the owner of this bike did pay. We did get a discount through Wiseco, but he did pay for that, and I just wanted to do good work and the absolute minimum for him, so that he didn't have to pay a ton to get this engine back up and running. But as I said in previous videos, he just seems so appreciative of what we were doing. And not to preach too hard, but it is the world is madness right now. I try to stay as disconnected from it as I can. I don't even have internet in my house. I don't watch the news, and I avoid social media. But it's just really cool to do good stuff for good people. And if there's any message that I'm trying to spread by doing this work, it's to do cool things for yourself and good people around you. And doing good things is honestly the most selfish thing you can do. It feels cool, and the people that you meet along the way doing work like that, and immersing yourself and making those connections, it leads to so many cool opportunities, and having these relationships. So no matter what it is, be a good motherfucker, you know? Work hard, do cool things, and be good to people, you know? Doesn't matter what their background is, what they think, or what their political ideologies are. We're all people. We're all in a very similar situation across the board, and everybody's going through something. So do something cool and be good. Well, that was arguably the most tedious, infuriating 2 hours I've had in a while. The silicone that was used to seal these cases back up was in every nook and cranny. I mean, I'm not gonna bitch and moan about it, I'll shut up, but let's just look at the results of me shaking in a state of red-faced rage for the past 2 hours, because it looks pretty good. Here is where we land. This is the inside of the case here. Pretty minty. We got all of our parts cleaned up over here. So this is going to be where I end this video. The next video we're going to pick up and just start putting everything back together. We're going to pick up right where we left off on the next one and start throwing this thing back together. So definitely tune in for that, and we'll see you guys then. Have a good one.